Bolton played a big part with a base hit off Peronowski. 3-1 pitch to Moulton. Line drive, base hit, left field. Brooks around third, he'll tie it up. Belanger coming to third. Belanger's being held up.
Brooks Robinson with a high, deep drive, left field. It is a home run. Brooks Robinson. The set, they hold. The pitch, swing, fly ball, really hit. Deep, 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 right field. Home run, Boog Powell.
Johnson with a count of the ball and 2 strikes. Rocks over the rubber and throws. Johnson hits a high fly ball down the left field side, hooking in the left field corner. It is going to be a base hit off the corner of the wall. Johnson on his way for 2. The throw coming to second base. He is in ahead of it. Blue ready to work. Here's the stretch to the set and the 2-2 to Retmund. Line drive, right field side. It is going to be a fair ball. Base hit, right field corner. Johnson is coming home. Retmund racing for 2. The slide at second safe.
Nally to Bando. High drive back into shallow left. Belanger romping back inside the left field foul line. Belanger with a grab.
He's ahead of Frank Robinson. 1-2. Stretch to the belt. Kicks and fires. Here's a line drive. Left field way. Pulled. Just inside the line and fair. Gets by Mangual a bit. Powell racing around third. Powell coming home. The throw home by Bando. Powell saved.
Well, if there's a hungry hitter in this series, it has to be the fellow who gets a round of applause right now, Wilbur Stargell. But here's a 2-2 pitch to Bob Robertson. Fastball, whack to center. That goes Mays, away back. He's gone. Naturally today, the 1-2 screwball as a drive to right field. Back goes Bonds, away back to the wall. It's gone. Mike Clemente with a chance to break the tie. It's 5-5, 2 out. Cash, who runs very well at second base, and now to the plate. And there's a ground ball up the middle. Here comes Cash around third. He'll score. Dave at the belt, here he comes. Kane's hit down to third. Hebner goes a long way to Robinson. That's it. The Pirates are the National League champions.
The date was September 30th, 1947, and those people you see looking into the store windows are watching something old and something new. There's something old, the World Series. And there's something new, an American phenom called television. The very first World Series game ever televised. Lucky ones were there in person. But most people then as now relied on cameras. There were newsreel cameras, still cameras, and a brand new one, the television camera. 1947, the first televised game. At the Yankee Stadium that day, a very special fan. They called the ballpark the house that Ruth built. And Babe was there to see his last World Series. The television cameras brought the game to comparatively few people then, but it was really the start of something big. Something big being NBC's 25th World Series telecast, which will be coming your way very shortly from right here. Hi, I'm Joe Garagiola with Sandy Koufax. We came out to Baltimore's Memorial Stadium pretty early to beat the traffic and to visit the managers. But first, Sandy, I have to ask you, in 1947, what were you doing? Watching television?
Well, Joe, I think in 1947 I was 12 years old, so I was probably either in school or should have been.
Man, that hurts a little bit. In 1946, I had played in the World Series. It wasn't televised. In 1947, I was reading my favorite quote of all ball players, the one that says, "The World Series is just another game." Do you believe that?
Well, I think you probably put that with the other famous quote the no-hit pitcher gives you. I didn't know I had it.
Didn't know he had it.
Yeah.
Except he's watching the scoreboard all the time.
Right.
It is a special kind of feeling, the World Series, Sandy.
I think so, Joe. I think it's special to the fans. I think it's special to the players, too.
And it's special for the managers, and we're going to be talking to the 2 special managers who'll be in this World Series, Earl Weaver and Danny Murtaugh. I'm in the Baltimore dugout with manager Earl Weaver, and this is going to be a busy place in just a couple of minutes. The Baltimore Orioles against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they had to beat Vita Blue, Baltimore did. Vita Blue and the Oakland Athletics, and here's a big base hit off Vita Blue that tied the game. And from that point on, Baltimore was never behind. They got here with superstars and a team effort, as all World Series participants get into a World Series. Team effort. I want Earl Weaver to tell me about this great ball club they put together here. Earl, the first guy that we see is Brooks Robinson.
We call him Mr. Clutch, Joe. He seems to be able to rise to any occasion, both offensively and defensively, as you've seen last year in the World Series. That's Boog Powell, who got off to a slow start at the start of the season, but came on strong after his wrist mended, carried us in September, and was outstanding during the playoffs.
Is he okay now?
He's okay. It'll be a day-to-day basis. Dave Johnson, one of the most underrated ball players on our ball club, an all-star second baseman for 4 years, has helped us offensively and defensively just like everyone else has. Here's been our most consistent hitter for the year, Merv Rettenman. In fact, he led our club last year and this year. He sprays the ball to all parts of the ballpark and can hit with power at times. Here you'll see probably the best defensive shortstop in baseball today. I compare him with Marty Marion of years back, Mark Belanger. And here's our old pro who always can rise to the occasion also. This base hit, after not getting a hit through the first 2 games, wound up being the winning run Frank drove in, and then scored an insurance run a little bit later.
Big Boog scoring. Earl, in 69, when you lost to the Mets, they talked about you being overconfident at your ball club. Now everybody talks about how confident you are against Pittsburgh. Where is the fine line that a manager has to draw?
I think it's pitching. In 69, I think it was the Mets pitching, and this year I hope it's going to be ours.
Is there, you're talking about pitching, do you have your set rotation?
Yeah, we've got McNally going the first game, Palmer the second, Cuellar the third, and either McNally coming back or Dobson going the fourth, depending on what happens.
It seems like left-hander, right-hander, left-hander, right-hander. Is that a pattern?
Well, we keep them from getting in there 2 days hot on us.
Is there anybody on that Pittsburgh club that you'll try to pitch around? Usually there is.
Well, I think the left-handers will go after Stargell and pitch around Clemente, and the right-handers vice versa.
Earl, good luck to you.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Earl Weaver of the Baltimore Orioles, and Sandy Koufax will be visiting with Danny Murtaugh in just a few seconds.
Danny Murtaugh, just to make you a little bit more comfortable, make you feel at home, we've gotten you a rocking chair. And I think possibly to make you feel a little comfortable at home, I'd like to take a look at some of the players who won the pennant and made it possible for you to get here.
Well, Sandy, right there hitting now is Big Will. We wouldn't have been here without Willie. He carried us for 3/4 of the season, and I have never seen one power hitter keeping a streak so long. And I think we just showed a photo there of Big Bob Robinson, our first baseman. Marichal tried to throw a fastball, and he got a little bit up and outside, and he hit it to center field, and he really hit it a mile. He's a lot of power. And this is our boy that got hot in the world into our playoff series. I'm talking about Richie Hebner. He hit 2 balls over the fence in the series, and both of them were on bad balls. So I think he left the doubt to the Giants' mind is just about where to pitch this fella. And here, to me, is the greatest player I've ever seen, Roberto Clemente. I know a lot of people question his power, but I've always said that he not only knocks in all the important runs for us, but he sets up a lot of runs for the hitters in back of him. So therefore, his value to our ball club is doing the RBIs for the good hits and also setting up the runs. This is Dave Justy, our best relief pitcher. For 2 years, I think he's been the outstanding pitcher in the National League. And you see him right here getting a ground ball to Hebner for the 3rd out and clinching the series for us and putting us in the playoffs.
Well, Danny, those are happy days. You're starting all even again now. It's the World Series. Some people have questioned your pitching. I think it's going to be up to the pitching staff. Last year in this World Series, Cincinnati scored runs against Baltimore. They didn't hold Baltimore. What about your pitching staff? What's the pitching rotation going to be?
Well, Sandy, ever since the first day of spring training, everybody has told me my pitching hasn't been strong enough. And here it is. We're in the October Classic. I would say that my pitching has been good enough. In other words, I have a pitching staff that the other team has scored 4 or 5. We've scored 6. And if we had to win a one-run ball game, we won a one-run ball game. Now, I'm going with Doc Ellis today. I'm going with Bob Johnson tomorrow. And for the opener in Pittsburgh, I'm throwing Steve Blass. There are 3 of my best pitchers, and I'm quite sure they'll give a good account of themselves.
Danny, you platoon most of the year. Hebner was a big man for you. So was Al Oliver in the playoffs. With a left-hander going today, are you going to maybe stick with them, or are you going to go to the platoon?
Well, Sandy, I really haven't quite made my lineup out as yet. I'll go back in my office after we get through talking, and I'll do a little bit of thinking. And then when we come out on the field for the first time, I'll announce my starting lineup then.
Okay, well, I'll take a look then, Danny. I won't ask you any more. Dan, thank you very much, and good luck to you.
Well, thank you, Sandy, and I'm sincere in saying that they're going to see a pretty good series out there.
Unless that becomes a used car, Sandy, that's the cart that the Baltimore relief pitchers will be brought in. This could be a Baltimore series. How about the bullpens?
I think, Joe, that be the big question. Both ball clubs are capable of scoring runs. They talk about the Pirates' power, but I think Baltimore has good power, too. And I think it's going to be up to the Pittsburgh team to contain the Baltimore power.
I know we talked about this before, and most ball players who watch a series root for fellas not to have that one play that'll make them the so-called GOAT. I hate that expression to begin with. You want to pick a hero?
Well, I think Danny Murtaugh has been platooning all year. That's what got him here, and I know Danny will probably do that again today, so he'll go with his right-hand lineup. I like Gene Klein's in center field. He's got great speed. He's probably the fastest man in the National League now, and I think if he gets a chance to run and steal a couple of bases, I think he could be a deciding factor in the ballgame.
Klein's.
Right.
I picked Retterman of the Baltimore Orioles to be a big man for the Orioles because he seems to hit the ball all over like you need a 6-2-2-1 defense against him.
Well, he'll make it a little tough out in right field, but you've got probably the best right fielder in baseball out there in Clemente, so, well, you can only hope.
Clemente was a tough guy to pitch to, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Danny was talking about his power. That people suspect his power. Well, I think if you played in that old Pittsburgh ballpark, as you well know, there are not too many right-hand hitters going to hit the home run.
No, that's a two-base hit in a triples ballpark. Sandy, do you think that it'll be Baltimore's pitching against Pittsburgh's power?
No, I think it's probably going to be Pittsburgh's pitching against Baltimore's power. I think Pittsburgh must contain the Orioles.
So we completely disagree, and I guess we'll go like Bob Veal and say that good pitching stops good hitting, or vice versa. But let's just sit back and watch another ball game.
Just another game.
Just another game.
Our plan, of course, is to take liberties with the arms in the outfield, except for Clemente, who has the greatest arm in baseball.
We felt that in scouting the Baltimore club that the only outfielder that had an average arm or above was Paul Blair.
We're not going to take too many chances on Sanguillen unless we feel that we can get a jump on that particular pitcher.
We felt that Etchebarren has a good arm, but that he takes too long to get rid of the ball, and if he is rushed, his throwing accuracy is affected.
We have tremendous respect for their pitchers. We think that Steve Blass is the finest pitcher on their ball club.
And as you all know, they overshift on Powell, but we overshift a little bit more, and we figure this is going to give us an advantage if our pitchers can throw the ball where they want to.
We concentrated rather heavily on trying to stop their big men like Stargell and Roberto Clemente, who incidentally is almost scout-proof.
The Baltimore Orioles make the World Series scene for the third straight year, and they're heavily favored to win as they did a year ago against Cincinnati's Big Red Machine. Earl Weaver, Baltimore's bubbly, bouncy manager, and Danny Murtaugh, Pittsburgh's rocking chair resident genius. The amenities are observed all around, welcoming the Commissioner of Baseball, Bowie Kuhn, and the Pittsburgh Gallbreasts, John and Dan, is Baltimore's Jerry Hoffberger, along with the Oriole brass, Harry Dalton and Frank Cashin. The Pirates in a World Series for the first time in 11 years start Doc Ellis. And the Orioles, with a choice of 4 20-game winners, pick Dave McNally.
Hi, everybody. This is Kurt Gowdy of NBC Sports. Chuck Thompson, the broadcaster of the Baltimore Orioles, and down around the dugouts in the stands of NBC will be Tony Kubek. The temperature, mid-60s today. Overcast, the sun trying to fight through. A 20% chance of rain today, 80% chance of rain tomorrow for Game 2. The Orioles have been established a 2-1 favorite to win this World Series. And why not? They've got impressive credentials. 4 20-game winners. They won 100 games again during the season. It's a beautifully balanced baseball machine with hitting, power, defense, pitching, age, and youth. And yet we think the one key to this World Series is going to be the pitching of the Pittsburgh Pirates. We have a hunch the pitching is better for the Pirates than people expect. And if it is, you're going to have an exciting World Series because the Pirates can challenge any pitching staff with the hard-hitting ball club they have from top down to bottom. Now to get the starting pitchers on the line here for you. First of all, Doc Ellis is going to be starting it off for the Pirates. He was their top winner this year. He won 19 games. He's a question mark, though, with a sore elbow that plagued him in the last few weeks of the season. The top winner of the Baltimore staff goes today. He's a left-hander, Dave McNally, who won 21 games. And he also had elbow problem. He missed a month of the season during July. So it's McNally, a left-hander, against Ellis, a right-hander. And I think with that left-handed starter going for Baltimore, Chuck Thompson has some slants of his own to pass along to you. Chuck?
Well, thank you very much, Kurt. Good afternoon, everybody. I think it's a little significant that Baltimore starts a left-handed pitcher against the Pirates, who just really tore up left-handed pitching. They won 39 times against left-handers and lost only 19. Now, why would Baltimore do it? Well, obviously, 1 point. They feel quite certainly that Cuellar and McNally are perhaps a cut above some of the left-handers in the National League the Pirates are swinging at. But almost as important, maybe more important, is the fact that the big bats of Al Oliver and Rich Hebner will be on the sidelines. That will take away from the Pirates' attack 31 home runs and 131 runs batted in. It replaces those figures with 6 home runs and 39 runs batted in off the bats of Gene Kleins and Jose Pagan.
You know, if you look to what the odds makers are saying, and of course the members of the press and most other people, they say the Pittsburgh Pirates don't even belong in the same ballpark with these Baltimore Orioles. But remember this. During those championship series with the San Francisco Giants, they beat a pitcher, Juan Marichal, one of the best in baseball. They beat him with good defense and a couple of home runs, 2-1. When they had to score runs, they did score them off Gaylord Perry in that final game of the playoff series. The Pittsburgh Pirates have a team that is difficult to pitch to, as Curt Gowdy and, of course, Chuck Thompson have told you. Roberto Clemente and, of course, Manny Sanguillen. Where do you pitch them? Where do you play them? Should Willie Stargell get hot? Well, the Orioles are going to have to score an awful lot of runs in this World Series. My personal prediction, and maybe I'm looking back to history, the 1960 World Series, which our Yankees were a part of, I think it's going to be Pittsburgh in 7 games. Let's go back upstairs.
Brave prediction there, Mr. Kubek, and we'll see how it all comes out. All right, Curt Gowdy back with you, along with Chuck Thompson and Tony Kubek at first base for the Orioles. Boog Powell. Playing second base, Dave Johnson. This is a marvelous infield they have. Mark Belanger is the shortstop. And over at third, Brooks Robinson. The left fielder will be Don Buford. Bit of a surprise in center field today. Merv Retman is starting in place of Paul Blair. The Orioles want a little more punch in their lineup. And in right field, Frank Robinson. Behind the plate will be Ellie Hendricks and Dave McNally will be pitching for Baltimore. We have 6 umpires today. Nestor Shylock behind the plate, Ed Sudol at first, John Rice working at second, Ed Bargo at third, James Odom down the left field line, and John Kibler will be working the right field line. Dave McNally from the Big Sky country of Montana now lives in Lutherville, Maryland, a Baltimore suburb. 5'11", 190, 28 years old, has been compared many times to Whitey Ford when he used to work so brilliantly with the New York Yankees. And you can take a look at McNally's statistics. They're great ones. Here's the first pitch of the 71 World Series to Cash, and it's ball 1. Cash hit .289 this year. 2 homers, 34 RBIs. He had a good playoff, 8 hits and 19 times up. He's from Utica, New York. And there's a liner into center. Retman is there, and there's 1 down. Cash lines to center. Gene Kleins is up next. Here's the fastest player on the Pirate team. And we'll watch the Baltimore infield. It'll probably move in a step or 2. Gene Kleins lives in Richmond, California, 24 years old. He's only 5'9", but in high school he high jumped 6 feet 7 3/4. He hit 308. He's coming strong now, and he's a player of the future for the Pirates. They have a lot of good young ones. McNally's fastball's on the inside corner. Just the way McNally likes to work. Move that fastball in and out, break the curves off in the fist, or tease you low and outside with him. A real craftsman. There's the slow one. Then he had him way off balance. Strike two. McNally had the longest winning streak of any American League pitcher this past season. He won 13 in a row. Changeup is hit high in the air in the shallow left. Buford coming on, going back to Belanger, and Buford puts it away, and they're 2 down. So changing speeds. McNally fools Kleins. Roberto Clemente hit 341 this year. 13 homers, 86 runs batted in. He hit 333 in the National League playoffs. Now let's watch. It's going to be interesting to see where Baltimore defensively plays these batters. They're playing Clemente way over in right center. Rettman in right center. See him there, and Frank Robinson toward the right field line. Most clubs in the National League pitch Clemente outside. And that's where McNally's pitching him on that outside corner, strike one. Clemente can pull the inside pitch. He slashes the ball all over, as most of the Pirates do. They're a very hard team to defense. You can't play them just any one way. The one-strike delivery. There's a drive into deep right center. Frank Robinson going back, and that ball's off the wall. Clemente digging for two, and he's in there with a stand-up double to the opposite field. Typical Clemente hit.
Kurt, let's take a look at that great swing of Roberto Clemente as he just doubled into the alley in right center field. Beautiful. As you mentioned a moment ago, Clemente can and will hit the ball to any and all fields, and that ball seemed to be coming in on him a little bit, yet he took it the other way.
Number 21. Roberto Clemente fires the first shot for the Pirates. A first-inning double, and it extends an 11-year streak for the pride of Puerto Rico, his 8th straight hitting game at World Series competition. Now Willie Stargell, the home run king of the majors, coming off his finest year.
3-2 pitch to Willie Stargell. Looking out on the fastball. He blew it by him. No runs for the Pirates. One hit, there were no errors, and one man left. Middle of the first inning, the score. The Pirates nothing, the Orioles coming to bat. 55-year-old George Stoller coaching at first for the Orioles, his 4th year as a Baltimore coach, and 43-year-old Billy Hunter coaching at third, used to be a big league ball player, shortstop. This is his 8th season as a Baltimore coach. And the first 3 men up for the Orioles will be Don Buford, Merv Rettman, and Boog Powell, facing 26-year-old Doc Ellis. Born in Los Angeles, lives now in Pittsburgh. He won 19 games and lost 9. The year before, he won 13 and lost 10. He was a starter for the National League in the All-Star game. Had a tremendous first half of the season. Was slowed down in the second half by elbow problems. Bounding ball by switch-hitting Buford to second baseman Dave Cash, and there's 1 down. Now, Ellis has 2 types of fastball. One rises, the other one sinks. So Sanguillen, the catcher, will give him 2 fastball signals. He has a slider and a breaking pitch. Merv Rettman, the leading hitter in the Orioles this year, hit 318, 11 homers, 75 runs batted in. A ball to him. And he wound up 3rd in the American League in batting. Rettman has been sitting on the bench for a couple of years, part-time. He hits a chopper. Here's a tough play for Hernandez. The throw, he's got him. Good play by Jackie Hernandez. 2 down.
Let's take a look at the fine play again by Hernandez. Now, this is anything but artificial turf, but it is very quick, and what a beautiful play contributed by, and just got him without any trouble whatsoever. And now let's look at him again. All alone. The throw of Hernandez off balance, coming toward the plate, throwing toward first base. A beautiful play by the Pirates shortstop. Fine.
Boog Powell has a switch on against him now. Notice the shortstop right in back of second. A curve by Ellis is in for a strike. Powell hit .256, 22 homers, 92 RBIs. He's playing with a bad hand. He has torn fibrous tissue in the back of his right hand. He also has a broken wrist earlier in June. And he says his swing is not right. Strike two. He still hit 2 homers in 1 game against Oakland, though, in the playoffs. Wonder what he does when he's healthy. 2 down, nobody on, no score in the last of the first inning. Doc Ellis averaged 5 strikeouts a game every 9 innings he pitched this year. And there's a chopper, and the shortstop, Hernandez, handles this one on the right side and throws him out. So Ellis overpowered the Orioles in the last of the first. And at the end of the first inning, our score is Pittsburgh 0 and Baltimore 0.
Let's hear from Pirate first baseman Bob Robertson. His opinion about Oriole left-hander, the man starting game number 1 today, the 20-game winner, 21-game winner, Oriole left-hander Dave McNally.
Bob, what about Dave McNally? Well, I've never faced McNally before, but our scouting reports on him are that he pitches right handers away with his breaking stuff, and if he gets 2 strikes on it, he tries to come high and tight with his fastball.
Bob Robertson, strike 1 to him. He is the only starting white player in the Pittsburgh lineup. One time this year, Danny Murtaugh started 9 blacks, and as he said, when it comes to making out my lineup, my players know I'm not colorblind. There's a foul ball back out of play. Robertson had a tremendous playoff series, 3 homers in 1 game at San Francisco, another homer in Pittsburgh against the Giants. And he is a native of Maryland, Frostburg, Maryland, moving along into the line of great sluggers turned out by this state. McNally's 2-strike pitch. Outside. Inside, ball 2-strike 2. To the backstop, 3-2 count. And he's on. McNally high with that fastball on the last 2 pitches. Well, the Pirates have had a base runner each inning. And here's the happy one now, Manny Sanguillen. He hit .319 this year. 7 homers, 81 RBIs, a line drive hitter that just sprays the ball all over the ballpark. And he walked only 6 times, aside from intentional walks all year, and over 500 times at bat. He says, I like the swing. Me come up there to hit. Give me 3 pitches, I'm either on or I'm back in the dugout. And he'll swing at anything. He is the fastest running catcher in baseball. He's hard to double up. Robertson at first. Nobody out. Foul ball, strike 1.
Kurt, you mentioned that Manny will swing at anything. I believe this is true, that he swung at a pitch this year that hit him.
Wouldn't surprise me a bit. He's always got that grin on his face. I've seen him swing at him over his head and in the dirt. A 1-strike pitch. And down to second goes Bob Robertson. A wild pitch charged against Dave McNally.
A wild pitch. And for 1 inning, the best defense in baseball gets jammed like a temperamental computer.
2-1 delivery. Ground ball to short. Belanger is going to third and hits the runner. Robertson goes into the dugout. Bob Robertson scores. And down to second goes Sanguillen. And the Orioles, who are not supposed to make many mistakes, who don't beat themselves, watch this rerun now, have hurt themselves here in the second inning.
They really have. The Belanger throw, it looks as though it hit Robertson right on the batting helmet coming in, and that is exactly what happened. Hit Robertson on the batting helmet, and another point for wearing that helmet on the base pass. The error is charged to the shortstop. Now here comes Robertson all alone right toward third base, and the ball hits him on the batting helmet. Nothing Brooks can do about it. Charge. Shortstop Belanger with the error. Pirates lead 1-0. Kurt?
It's always a gamble play, that play going to third. Pitch is high for a ball. Sanguillen wound up at second. Belanger charged with an error. The Pirates leading 1-0. Nobody out. And Jose Pagan, who hit .241 this year, chops it to McNally. He's going to have to hurry this throw, and it is just in time. Sanguillen made his turn and holds at third. Pagan out from McNally to Powell. Jackie Hernandez coming up. Hit .206 during the year. If there's one weak spot in that Pirate batting order, it's Hernandez. There's a squeeze on. It's the suicide squeeze to the plate. Gets by the catcher. Sanguillen scores. There goes Hernandez down to second. And that's twice the Orioles have thrown the ball away. I think the suicide squeeze would have worked anyway. The runner was coming on the pitch.
Well, it was definitely, as you said, Kurt, the suicide squeeze, a runner coming, and McNally got to it and knew he had to hurry. He couldn't take time to set up and make the throw. Well, now as we look at it on the magic of videotape, it's quite possible that Hendricks might have had a play. Here comes that runner, Sanguillen, headed for the plate. Now, see if you don't think that maybe Hendricks, with a better throw, might have had a play. I think he might have had a play with a better throw, and they might have gotten Sanguillen at the plate, but the throw was off the mark. And again, the Orioles have made something they don't often do, another mistake.
Now a squeeze by Jackie Hernandez. McNally's throw wide of the plate. Sanguillen scores, and Earl Weaver asks for time.
Hey, let's go. Come on, shake him up. Get back in the game. Damn it, Slav will make us mad. Let's go. You ready? Come on, let's go to work.
A sacrifice for Hernandez. An error charged on the catcher, Hendricks. And Doc Ellis, the Pirate pitcher's up. Fool and a high fastball. Second strikeout for McNally. Now the top of the order, and Dave Cash, who lined to center his first time. Cash, a fine all-around athlete at Utica, New York. 2 down for the Pirates. Jackie Hernandez at second. They gave Hernandez an RBI on that bunt. On that suicide squeeze bunt. There's a line drive into center. Hernandez is coming in to score. And the Pirates have a 3-0 lead. Cash singles to center. So a 3-run inning here for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And now Earl Weaver comes out. And we're going to get some action in the Baltimore bullpen. Grant Jackson and Dave Leonard are starting to warm up. Jackson is the left-hander. Leonard is the right-hander. Earl Weaver going back.
Just a quick point as we watch Weaver to the dugout. This is a job that, Kurt, normally would be handled by the Oriole pitching coach, George Bamberger. Unfortunately, Bamberger is confined to a Baltimore hospital, recuperating, doing very well, but he will be there for another 2 weeks and is unable to serve, as he has served so well for Baltimore as the pitching coach.
Gene Klein's flying to left field his first time. Pounding ball to Belanger. The second base, he had trouble digging the ball out of his glove, and it was a closer play than it looked when it started. Belanger had trouble getting the ball out of his mitt. A force out at second on Cash. 3 runs for the Pirates. They had only 1 hit. There were 2 errors and 1 left. And at the end of an inning and a half, it's Pittsburgh 3, Baltimore nothing. The commissioner, Bowie Kuhn, and to his left is Julian Goodman, the president of the National Broadcasting Company. To Mr. Goodman's left is Don Durgan, the president of the NBC Television Network. Mrs. Kuhn next to the commissioner. And now it's Frank Robinson, Ellie Hendricks, and Brooks Robinson up in the last half of the second. Frank Robinson hit .281 for the year, 28 homers, 99 RBI. Doc Ellis is inside with a breaking pitch for a ball. Robinson didn't hit much in the playoffs, only 1 hit in 12 times. There's that sinker, 1-1. Doc Ellis's 8th professional season. Began in the Pirate organization in '64. He was booed today when his name was announced as the starting pitcher. He's been making the newspapers and radio. There's a high drive into deep left, way up. That one is going, and it is gone. A home run for Frank Robinson.
Let's take a look again at the swing of Frank Robinson that puts Baltimore on the board. This is something Frank has done in every World Series in which he has played. He has hit at least a home run.
Doc Ellis, staked to an early gift-wrapped 3-run lead, catches the Orioles on the rebound. In the bottom of the second, Frank Robinson gets one back in a hurry.
All right, let's go. Same as last year. Now, let's go. Come on.
As Kurt mentioned, there just wasn't any doubt about it. The minute it left the bat, it was gone, and the Orioles have a run.
Ellie Hendricks goes after the inside pitch and fouls it off. Hendricks hit .250 for the year. Had 2 out of 4. There's the Pirate manager in his jacket with his arms crossed, Danny Murtaugh. Bill Verdon to his left. Bounding ball and a broken bat. Cash fields it, throws to first, and gets Hendricks one down. And Brooks Robinson, the most popular ball player of all time here in this city of Baltimore, is up. You all remember the show he put on last year. But he was laughingly telling me today they didn't remember the '69 series. There's a high drive in the deep left. Room, though, for Gene Klein. He has it, and there are 2 down. Because Brooks Robinson in the '69 World Series had only 1 hit in 19 times up. Now it's Dave Johnson coming up. This telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball, intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. And any publication, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. Very solid ball player, this boy, Johnson. The 2-strike pitch. A soft liner back to the box, and that's all. 1 run, 1 hit, the home run by Frank Robinson. No errors, nobody left. At the end of 2 innings, Pittsburgh 3 and Baltimore 1. The Pittsburgh coaches today are Don Leppert, 39 years old. This is his 4th season as Pittsburgh coach. He's at first base, and over at third is 59-year-old Frank Oshiak, who's serving his 9th season as a Pirate coach. And Roberto Clemente will lead off in the 3rd inning for Pittsburgh, to be followed by Willie Stargell and Bob Robertson. Clemente doubled off the right center field fence his first time. He's one of the few left from the Pirate 1960 World Championship team. Ball went to him. Incidentally, the Pirate owner, Mr. John Galbraith, is leaving after this game today for Paris, France. A 1-0 pitch. Curve is in, 1-1. He has one of the top 2-year-old race horses in the world over there, and he named the horse Roberto after Roberto Clemente. A 1-1 pitch. And there's a typical Clemente hit again, reaching out, slashing it into center. That pitch looked like it'd be about a foot outside, Chuck.
Hit it as if, like a stork. Here's Willie Stargell, and of course, as Kurt has already commented, Stargell has been in a little bit of a slump. It's a worrisome thing. It happens to every ball player who's ever played the game. So Stargell was asked, what does he intend to do to get out of it?
Well, last year, I hit in the playoffs, and we didn't win. This year, I didn't hit, and we won. It took the death to be here. Personally, I've been taking some batting practice, hopefully that I can do some of the things that I'm capable of doing and have a big series. I've never been in the World Series before, so I'm definitely looking forward to this one.
Willie Stargell has a count of 1 ball and no strikes. It's 2-0 to him now. Ball 3 is high. He walked him, and the Pirates have runners on first and second, nobody out. And Bob Robertson coming up. A 1-2 pitch. Struck him out on a fastball. That's the third strikeout for McNally. And Manny Sanguillen's up. He was on with a fielder's choice his first time. They got him, strike 3. Just ticked it into the mitt of Ellie Hendricks, a foul tip. A bad pitch outside. 4 strikeouts for McNally. This may be a crucial inning for McNally. Oakland got ahead of him the first game of the playoffs, 3-1. And then McNally settled down after the 5th inning and shut him out the rest of the way. And he was here in the 3rd. This one's not over yet this inning. He has Pagan now to face. But he has struck out Robertson and Sanguillen in a row. Pagan hits a fly ball to left center. Don Buford's there. Sides retired. No run. 1 hit, no errors, 2 left. That could be a lift for McNally and the Orioles. At the end of 2.5 innings, it's the Pittsburgh Pirates 3, the Baltimore Orioles 1. Last half, the 3rd inning for Baltimore. The shortstop hitting in the number 8 position, Mark Belanger. To be followed by Dave McNally, then to the top of the order, and Don Buford. Belanger hit .266. He has had roller coaster seasons the last 4 years. And there's a bounding ball. Skips through for a base hit by Belanger. Belanger goes up about 50 points, then dropped off again, back up again. Dave McNally has hit 2 World Series home runs. The only other man in series history to do that has been Bob Gibson of the pitchers. Strike 3, he's gone. First strikeout for Doc Ellis. Switch hitting Don Buford up, grounded out to second his first time. Buford had about 30 cc of fluid drained from his knee a couple of weeks ago. He has a chronic bad knee that he got playing college football at USC. A 1-1 count. So far, Ellis has looked sharp. He's got a good fastball today and breaking stuff. He was not impressive out of San Francisco in the playoffs. His elbow was bothering him. Pitched only 5 innings. There's a ground ball in the right field for a base hit. Clemente has a great arm, and they respect it. Roberto Clemente, although the throw get away, they're not going to go from first to third on Clemente, especially when they're trailing. So the Orioles have runners on first and second. 1 down. And Merv Retman up. He grounded out his first time. Baltimore led their league in batting average with .261. The Pirates didn't lead their league. They hit .274 as a team, 1 point behind the Cardinals. But the Orioles had more home runs than the Pirates. There's a drive in the deep left field, way back, and that ball is gone for a home run for Merv Retman.
The Retman home run swing. Stargell desperately trying to get to it, and it was just a long time gone. And now let's take a look at Retman all alone and the power of this swing. Though he has hit but 11 home runs in the regular campaign, he just got everything he had into that cut, did he not, Coach?
He sure did, and he had his head down right on that ball.
Number 7, Mark Belanger. An inning later, this one bounces through the middle. Number 9, Don Buford. And this one finds the alley on the right side. Merv Retman starting in center. It's beyond Stargell's desperate leap. The Orioles lead 4-3. Retman explains.
I was just looking for a pitch to hit. I'm not a home run hitter, and Doc Ellis, I think, was trying to throw the ball down and away, and was up and in a little bit, and I wasn't sure it was out until I rounded first because I hit so few home runs that I run everyone out.
Merv Rettenman's second series home run. He hit one in the final game last year off Cloninger. And he was put in the lineup today in place of Paul Blair to get a little more punch into the Baltimore batting order. And Earl Weaver pushed the right button with him today. Changeup. Strike one, 1-1. Bob Moose now warming up in the Pirate bullpen. And the Orioles take the lead 4-3. One out, nobody on. Foul walk. Don Leppert now is coming out of the... Bill Burden, I beg your pardon. Didn't tell him from the side. Bill Burden, who probably will succeed Danny Murtaugh. If Murtaugh retires, Murtaugh can have the Pirate managing job as long as he wants. It's up to him. And that's going to be all for Doc Ellis. He goes out. And there's a break in the action here at Baltimore with a score. The Baltimore Orioles 4, Pittsburgh Pirates 3. All right, Tony, where are you?
I'm sitting right alongside the dugout, the third base dugout of the Orioles, Kurt. And, you know, we had a chance so far to see a couple of things very unusual about the Orioles especially. One fact that they very seldom give up runs. They very seldom are intimidated by an opposing team. They were by the Pittsburgh Pirates when they gave up 3 runs on just 1 hit, committed 2 errors. We also saw the great competitive spirit of this ball club, led by their team leader, Frank Robinson. After the 3 runs were given up, Robbie went up to the plate, first man up, hit the home run, and right then you could see the aura of this club in the dugout change from one of a little bit of dejection having giving up those 3 runs to one of wanting to win again, and their pride was hurt, and Robbie pulled them back out again. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, thank you, Tony. And now here is Frank Robinson facing Bob Moose, 24 years old today, Bob Moose. A happy birthday to him. Born in Export, Pennsylvania, which is about 15 miles from Old Forbes Field. Bob lives in Pittsburgh now. He won 11 and lost 7 this year with an earned run average of 4.11. A strike to Frank Robinson. He was trying to go to right, too. He was trying to smash that ball through the right side of the infield or into the right field corner. Bob Moose strikes him out. 2 down. Ellie Hendricks up, grounded out his first time. Gets away. There goes Powell, the second. A wild pitch charged against Bob Moose. 2 down. Powell now in scoring position. Three and 2 to Ellie Hendricks. There's a drive into right center. Clemente going back. He came in on the ball and had to go back. You very seldom see Clemente do that. Charging and then had to reverse direction. 3 runs for the Orioles. 3 hits. There were no errors. 1 left at the end of 3. The score, Baltimore 4, Pittsburgh 3.
The batter, number 2, Jack Hernandez.
Jack Hernandez will lead off for the Pirates, their number 8 hitter in the lineup, followed by the pitcher Moose and then Dave Cash at the top of the order.
Among them, I think, really amazing things about McNally, Kurt, is the fact that here's a fellow who won 21 games and yet he spent 38 days on the disabled list. That's, incredible.
It really is, Chuck. The 2-2 pitch to Hernandez. Fastball got him. That's 5 strikeouts for McNally. And as we told you, he averages only about 3.5 strikeouts a game. Is he a little faster than usual, Chuck?
He is throwing a little harder today, and I was just going to remind you again, Kurt, that I was the fellow that said he wasn't a strikeout pitcher. And now he's got 5 of them.
Well, he has been today. Bob Moose is up. Oh, beautiful curveball. And now McNally has struck out 6. Dave Cash lined to center his first time and then single. Two-two pitch. Line drive to right fielder Frank Robinson. And the Pirates are down 1-2-3. So at the end of 3.5 innings, the score is the Baltimore Orioles 4 and the Pittsburgh Pirates 3. In the last of the 4th inning, Brooks Robinson, Dave Johnson, and Mark Belanger will be up for the Orioles. Robinson flied to center his first time. Way in deep, 2 steps toward left. Bob Moose's pitch is a chopper, hauled down by Moose, 1 away. Good fielding play by Bob Moose. Dave Johnson lined to the pitcher his first time. He hits a high fly to Clemente in right center. 2 down. And this Baltimore bat boy, Jay Mazzone, is going to retire after this World Series at the age of 18. He's going to college. Very courageous story. We'll be talking to him later. Gets $5 a game. But a share of the World Series voted to him by the Orioles. They love him. Mark Belanger, outside ball. He lost his hands in a fire. His father is an undercover narcotics agent for the Maryland State Police. There's a drive into right field. Clemente charging. Ricochets off his leg and glove. Belanger coming for 3. Clemente picks the ball up and it's too late. Clemente, normally an acrobat in the outfield, with a diving attempt at that one, and it must have struck his right leg, Chuck.
Well, let's watch it again. The effort of Clemente to get the line drive in the alley in right center. And it caromed, as you saw, right off the left knee and really took off as if somebody, had hit it with a bat. And yes, that outfield is a little bit bumpy and a little bit tough to handle. And I'm not sure whether Roberto was in between coming into a slide to make the catch and then decided, well, maybe I can get it on the fly. 3 base hit.
Belanger has a triple. He's on third. There are 2 down. And the Oriole pitcher, Dave McNally's up. He struck out his first time. The 1-2 pitch struck him out. No runs, 1 hit. There were no errors and 1 left. And at the end of 4 innings, the score is Baltimore 4 and Pittsburgh 3. Tomorrow we have a big baseball-football doubleheader on NBC. The World Series Game 2 will be on starting at 1:30 Eastern Daylight Time. To be followed by the Oakland Raiders and Denver Bronco NFL game right after World Series Game number 2. And tomorrow's pitchers, 2 right-handers, Jim Palmer for the Orioles, Bob Johnson for the Pirates. Gene Kleins is flying to left, hit into a force play, and it's a strike from McNally. Active major leaguers born in Montana, Dave McNally that you're looking at right now on the mound. From Billings. Ground ball. Brooks Robinson stabs it. 1 down. There he goes into action.
And I caution you again, this is 1971, not 1970. And here is the miraculous glove of Brooks Robinson. And again, I'm sure you have heard this comment, and Kurt has used it a few times, that everything Brooks Robinson does, he does with his left hand, except throw a baseball. He writes with his left hand and eats with his left hand. Here it is again from a different angle. And just an outstanding, or I guess for Brooks, a routine defensive play.
Roberto Clemente has doubled to right center off the wall and singled to center, 2 out of 2. Gary Niebauer, an Atlanta pitcher, is born in Billings, Montana. And John Lowenstein, a Cleveland infielder from Wolf Point, Montana. So they have 3 in the majors. Clemente hits a high fly out to Frank Robinson. The right fielder has it, and they're 2 down. Willie Stargell has struck out and walked. And now Dave McNally has retired 8 in a row. They let him off the hook in the third when they had runners on first and second, nobody out. Ball one. He'd had a wild pitch in the second. He'd walked the batter. The Orioles played sloppy baseball in the second, gave up a couple of runs on errors. Ground ball to short. Belanger, a bad hop to him, but he still has it with those quick hands of his. That nearly hit him in the throat. 3 up and 3 down for the Pirates in the fifth. And at the end of 4.5 innings, it's Baltimore 4 and Pittsburgh 3. Game 1 of the World Series is half over. We're going now to the last of the 5th inning. And moving in now to detail the play-by-play action is the very popular and capable Chuck Thompson, the voice of the Baltimore Orioles.
Thank you very much, Kurt, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Buford, and he is 1 for 2 today, and that's the story on his seasonal work with the Orioles. One other comment. Buford, with 19 home runs, 5 times this year, opened an Oriole game with a home run. I guess that might have been called a timely comment. Well, he is now 2 for 3, and Baltimore with a 5-3 lead over Pittsburgh.
Don Buford in the 5th shows the Bucks he's a leadoff man with exceptional power. In so many ways, the Orioles are reminiscent of the Yankees of a generation ago. Win or lose, they hang in there and they think positive.
And there have been a total of 9 base hits in the ballgame. The Orioles have authored 3 home runs and a triple. And now Rettenmund with a key hit in the Oriole 3rd inning, the 3-run home run. Good breaking stuff from Moose, and he notches his 3rd strikeout, 1 out in the inning. I'm sure you are aware they are not really booing Boog Powell. They just kind of croon his first name, Boog. And the big man has said, you better believe I can hear that G. Now, 3rd baseman Pagan. Well, you see the wind that Kurt mentioned a little earlier going from 3rd to 1st is what dropped it back in fair ground. 2 down. The NBC television network is doing the World Series for the 25th time. The inaugural telecast of the Yankee-Dodger series of 1947, NBC had a modest network of 4 stations. In this series, 200. And here is Frank Robinson. Homered in the 1st inning. Struck out in the 3rd. And that's the 2nd time Moose has fanned Frank Robinson. The Orioles a run, a base hit, and nobody left on at the end of 5. The score, Baltimore 5 and Pittsburgh 3. You're looking at Bob Robertson, Pirate first baseman. He walked in the 2nd inning, scored the Pirates' 1st run. He struck out in the 3rd inning. McNally, his 7th strikeout of the game. In this World Series, NBC will televise to over 200 stations. Plus, the game will be seen in Taiwan, Canada, Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Colombia, Bermuda, Panama, and the Virgin Islands, the Dominican Republic, Hawaii, and the Philippines. Watch Rettenmund, center fielder. 2 down. 11 in a row now, retired by McNally.
Any kind of support, Chuck. McNally could be working on a shutout. All 3 Pirate runs, for those who have joined us late, were unearned in the 2nd inning when the Orioles made 2 errors, throwing errors on the baseline.
Study and concentration. McNally ready to work to Jose Pagan. He has bounced to the mound and flied to left. Brooks Robinson to Boog Powell for the final out. The Pirates are 3 up and 3 down. At the end of 5 1/2 innings of play, the score is Baltimore 5 and Pittsburgh 3.
A reminder to all sports fans that in February 1972, NBC Sports will be in Sapporo, Japan, telecasting the 72 Olympic Winter Games. Over 30 hours of alpine skiing, ski jumping, cross-country, bobsledding, speed skating, figure skating, hockey. All the events that make the Winter Olympics so exciting. And you'll see it right here on NBC. 5-3, Baltimore leading. They're batting last of the 6th. Here's Chuck again.
Elrod Hendricks 0 for 2. It's grounded a second and fly to right fielder Clemente. Ball 1 to Hendricks. Look at the shortstop. This is shortstop Hernandez behind the bag. Actually the first base side, and we have 1 out.
That's twice, Chuck. By playing the shortstop there, they prevented base hits from going through the middle.
Number 5.
Here is Brooks Robinson, hitless in 2 trips, fly to center, and was out on a comebacker to the mound. Had the fantastic World Series against Cincinnati last year. Base hit. Whoop. I'd have to say that Gene Klein was a little bit anxious to make a pickup on that, but he handled it without getting in any trouble. Hit number 7 for the Orioles. And the batter is Dave Johnson. Dave has gone out on a broken bat line drive to the mound and then fly to the right fielder. And he started this season, as you see, in tremendous fashion with a 17-game hitting streak.
And a good man going to right field behind the runner.
Absolutely. There's one thing that Dave kind of bugs his manager. He's a fellow who is not content with one stance. He uses many different stances in the course of the year. That's hit fairly well. We'll watch left fielder Stargell. Does he have a play? He's got it right off the wall.
And coming back into first base is Brooks Robinson. Dave Johnson took Stargell and put number 8 right on the wall. The question was whether Stargell would grab it, and he did. Leaping high to do it. Now Mark Belanger, 2 for 2 with a single in the 3rd, scored a run, tripled, and remained at 3rd in the 4th. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Checks again at first, comes to the plate, and there's a hanger that hits slowly off the fist down to Cash, and he'll throw on, and he get a sort of a squidging type of hop that time. The ball took English, and the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and a man left. At the end of 6 innings of play, Baltimore 5 and the Pirates 3. Jim Simpson with Bob Prince in Baltimore, 7th inning Hernandez, and then perhaps the pitcher, although no one has come into the on-deck circle. Yes, here's Bob. Bill Mazeroski, one of the greatest fielding second basemen of all time, will be the on-deck batter. Bouncer wide at 3rd, over goes Brooks Robinson, throws him out. That's 13 in a row now for McNally. McNally, ball 1 and strike 2 to Bill Mazeroski. The 1-2 pitch, and there's a ball hit deep toward left. Running for it is Buford, and back, and now has to backpedal quickly. That ball appeared to jump on him a little bit. He went over there rather lazily looking, and then all of a sudden he started to put on some steam. And the batter will be the leadoff batter, Cash, who singled in the 2nd inning to drive in a run. 0-1 count, the pitch. And it's driven deep toward left. Running for it is Buford, and he's there for the out. So it's 3 up and 3 down for McNally. And we go now to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Baltimore leading the Pirates by the score of 5-3.
Bob Moose in 3 2/3 innings of relief allowed 3 hits, 1 run, no walks, struck out 4. And Bob Miller comes on now for the Pirates. Bob Miller won 8, lost 5, an earned run average of 1.64. The Pirates had a strong bullpen all year long with Justy and Veal and Miller. We want to remind you that tomorrow, starting at 1:30 Eastern Daylight Time, we'll have a baseball-football doubleheader on NBC. Game 2 of the World Series tomorrow. Jim Palmer against Bob Johnson, 2 right-handers. And Game 2 of the World Series will be followed by the Oakland Raiders-Denver Bronco NFL football game. Both right here on NBC tomorrow. McNally getting a well-deserved round of applause as he leads off in the last of the 7th.
And that's the 3rd time McNally is fanned. He'll probably be applauded for the strikeout. Number 1 for Bob Miller. And a hand is building for that fine little man, Don Buford. As you see, his best home run season, 19 this year. 14 stolen bases. And Buford has a great on-base percentage, Kurt, .415.
That's right, and he led the American League in runs scored with 98.
And this will be a 2-2 pitch to Buford. And the left fielder Stargell perfectly positioned to make the play. 2 down. And the Orioles center fielder Merv Rettenmund. Incidentally, tonight, detective partners Crook and Robinson foul up another assignment, as well as the FBI, on the partners tonight at 8/7 Central Time here on NBC. Rettenmund, a fine play by shortstop Hernandez, got him in the 1st inning. He homered with 2 aboard in the 3rd and struck out in the 5th. Oh, what a grab from Bob Miller. Just a great play from Miller. 3 up and 3 down go the Orioles, and at the end of 7 complete, the score is Baltimore 5 and Pittsburgh 3.
Paul Blair, the Orioles' best defensive outfielder, now is inserted in center field, and Marv Rettenmund goes to left. Don Buford's out of the game. The 8th inning, and Chuck.
Gene Klein, who was fly to left, hit into a force, and an outstanding defensive play from Brooks Robinson got him in the 5th inning. Now the left fielder Rettenmund. 1 gone, and now 16 in a row.
These Pirates now are starting to hit the ball deep to the outfield. They've had 4 long outfield flies, the last 6 batters up, and McNally sort of lost his strikeout touch after he struck out Robertson to lead off the 6th.
Here is Roberto Clemente, who has doubled, singled, and fly to right field. There's your ball and strike count and the out situation. Dave Johnson. Two away in the Pirate half of the 8th inning.
The Orioles think Johnson's the best second baseman in the American League, and they have a youngster, Bobby Grich, who they think's just as good. He led the International League and everything at Rochester. Where are they going to play him next year, Chuck?
That's the kind of a problem the Oriole management loves to face. McNally with his 8th strikeout, and for 5 innings in a row, the Pirates have gone 3 up and 3 down as McNally has retired 18 in a row. At the end of 7 1/2, the score is Baltimore 5, Pittsburgh 3. Let's now go to the Oriole half of the 8th inning, and it'll be Boog Powell, Frank Robinson, Elrod Hendricks as 2 batters to Bob Miller, who is the 3rd Pirate hurler to work this afternoon. This is a tough pitch for Miller to make to Boog Powell, the 3-1. Here it is. Fair ball.
Bob Robertson's a very underrated first baseman. He's solid, makes good plays around the bag, doesn't look flashy, but he does quite a job defensively at first for the Pirates.
Here is Frank Robinson in the 2nd inning. After the Pirates in the top of the inning had picked up 3 unearned runs, Frank Robinson hit a solo home run, and that kind of started the Oriole recovery. Nothing funny about that. Miller in his follow-through was desperately trying to, either make a play or get out of the way, and Frank Robinson's 2nd hit. That was a kind of a line drive that you saw was bearing right in on Miller as he was coming through.
This is a high breaking pitch. Look at it. Hangs right up over the plate. And Robinson wanted it.
One out single by Frank Robinson, and now Elrod Hendricks has grounded to second, fly to right, grounded to second. Uh-oh. Young Cash.
There was some great base running by Frank Robinson on this play. He correctly gauged that ball would be trapped in front of Dave Cash, and he broke. A lot of players would have held for fear they'd be doubled up at first base. And Frank Robinson's alertness gets him into second. And Cash couldn't make the play on Hendricks.
Cash just a little off balance, a little off stride as he reached the ball, and I'm not sure. It appeared like it kind of hit him in the heel of the glove rather than the pocket, but the Orioles, with one away now, have Frank Robinson at second base, Hendricks at first base, and here is Brooks Robinson. He has flied to center, bounced to the mound, and singled. We'll see if Pagan has a play. He had it, and it was not an easy play.
Sanguillen had to go down and cover third base. But both the shortstop and the third baseman over for the foul ball. You see Sanguillen coming back now. He was very alertly down there.
Orioles scouting reports on Sanguillen, Kurt, dictate that he might well be the best catcher in baseball. Here is Johnson, hitless in 3 trips. Line to the pitcher, fly to right and to left. Uh-oh. Nope, he did not get him. Johnson reaches.
Now here it is, just by the pitcher. Miller had fallen off balance. An excellent player by Cash, but not in time. And one of those bang-bang plays at first base, so the Orioles have the bases loaded.
And a chance, Kurt, to do something that isn't done as often as it should be. Compliment the umpire on an outstanding call, just as close as it could be, and he was right as rain. Now Belanger with the bases loaded. And it should be handled by Hernandez. There's the force that ends the inning. So at the end of 8 complete innings, the score is Baltimore 5 and Pittsburgh 3.
Now here we go now, and Dave McNally, Chuck, had quite a spell in the dugout. It was a long last half of the 8th inning. Let's see if it affected him any.
Well, here is Robertson, who has walked and struck out twice against Dave McNally. Well, Blair, Rettenmond, Belanger. Let's see, it'll be the outfielder Rettenmond. And McNally is now retired 19 in a row. The last man to reach for the Pirates, Willie Stargell, in the 3rd inning, and he walked. And at no time this year has McNally fanned as many batters as he has fanned this afternoon. His previous strikeout high was 7, and already he has 8. Manny Sanguillen, who is 0 for 3, has scored a run. Belanger's got the hurry. And Powell could not come up with it, and Sanguillen reaches.
Belanger knew Sanguillen could run. He unloaded that ball in a hurry. Made a bad throw to first. Well, there's the first man for the Pirates to reach base, and Stargell walked in the 3rd. That's been scored an error all the way on Belanger. That's the 3rd Baltimore error of this game. The Pirates are errorless.
And that error and the reach of Sanguillen puts quite a different complexion on McNally's effort now as he faces Jose Pagan, who is 0 for 3. Ball 1. Pagan has bounced to the mound, fly to left, and grounded to 3rd. It's Sanguillen at second base. 1 out. Top of the 9th. Baltimore 5, Pittsburgh 3. Tying run right there at the plate in the person of Pagan. Right fielder Frank Robinson is calling for it. 2 down. And Hernandez is the scheduled batter, but we will get a pinch swinger. Looks like it'll be Oliver. Al Oliver. Well, the story on Oliver this year is pretty good reading. He was a .282 hitter in 143 games with 14 home runs and 64 runs batted in.
Oliver finished the season very strong. He was probably the Pirates' hottest hitter the last month. In fact, he hit .328 in his last 33 games. Mazeroski's already hit, so the Pirates had one right-handed pinch hitter left. That was Gene Alley. For Murtaugh goes with a left-hander, Oliver, instead.
And as we mentioned at the outset of the telecast, one of the reasons for the start of a left-hander was to keep a man like this, Al Oliver, on the bench. And here he is. Ball one. Ball two. 2-1. 2-1 to the pinch hitter, Al Oliver. 2-2.
McNally's had a good live fastball today. Been very quick all afternoon.
Now the 2-2 pitch to Al Oliver. The game is over. The Orioles are victorious in the first game of the 1971 series. In the top of the ninth inning for the Pittsburgh Pirates, no runs, no hits, one error, and one man left on. The final score, it's the Orioles 5 and the Pirates 3.
McNally, after a shaky start, knocks off 19 batters in a row. And when pinch hitter Al Oliver goes down on strikes, it's a three-hitter for the classy left-hander. Baltimore 5, Pittsburgh 3.
All right, let's go down right now and Tony Kubek.
With me down on the field today's winning pitcher, Dave McNally. And Dave, I've talked to you after ball games before World Series victories, and we always had a couple things to talk about, your pitching plus your hitting. Today your hitting was awful.
Well, I'm trying to set him up for next time, Tony. I didn't even foul tip a ball today, I don't think.
You know, it was kind of a struggle for you in the early innings. Your defense, which is very unusual, got you in a little bit of difficulty, but you seemed to get your stuff as you went along.
Right, well, we all fell apart in the second inning. I lost my control and was missing the strike zone by a couple of feet, and then we made a few errors, and then after that, my control came back, and I was throwing the ball darn near I wanted to almost every pitch, and I just got a little more confidence as it went along.
You know, today was a season high for you in strikeouts. I think you had about 9, which is unusual. You strike out 7 was your high previously.
9's a career for me.
9 is a career. Let me ask you this, Dave, about scouting reports. I sat in on meetings where scouting reports in World Series play all-star games. How much stock do you put in scouting reports? I know Whitey Ford, for instance, had his pitching pattern, and he stuck with it. Did you vary at all in your pitching pattern today?
I varied somewhat, but I mostly went by what Tom Dukes and Pat Dobson and Grant Jackson and Dalrymple could tell me, because they played against these guys, and I'm not taking away from our scouts at all, but they see him for a limited amount of time, and they may see him in a funny rut of some kind, and I just went mostly by what they knew about these guys.
Did you say your best pitch today was your fastball? I've never seen you quite that fast. It looked like some of the Pirate hitters were quite surprised. It looked like they were looking for breaking ball, and the fastball was by them.
Well, I had a good fastball for me today, and I was able to move it in and out real well, and I was trying to turn it over and run it away from when I got 2 strikes, and I was working real well, and then I was trying to get inside a lot with it, and my breaking ball, my curveball was pretty sharp today, too, so they were kind of complementing each other.
You know, Dave, one thing, and this is about Frank Robinson, your great field leader, I think. It seemed when you were down 3-0 and things looked bad, and all of a sudden he comes up, the first hitter up, whammo, home run, and it seems like you guys got rejuvenated and came right back on strong.
Right, he's done it many times for us, Tony. He just has been leading us ever since he got here in 1966, and it's things like that, as you know, that it takes to get a ball club back in a ball game. When you're down 3-0, you do get in the dumps a little bit, and it takes a while to struggle back, but he got us right back in there, or closer anyway, real quick, and it does help us out quite a bit.
Dave, let me ask you one more quick question, and it's about this Pittsburgh Pirate team. Again, scouting reports, what you did see of them on TV, and, of course, in spring training. How would you evaluate this ball club? Would you compare it to any other team in the American League, for instance?
Well, Tony, I really can't do that after one ball game, but I know guys like Clemente and those guys all hit 300. Clemente didn't hit 340 of a lifetime if he's not a good hitter. And, I mean, they can all swing the bat, and they swung the bat well today, and they hit some balls hard that were outs. But I just have to keep throwing strikes at them, hope they hit it at somebody, which they did.
Dave McNally, congratulations once again. Good ball game.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Dave McNally. Let's go back upstairs.
Kurt Gowdy, Chuck Thompson, Tony Kubek bid you goodbye from Baltimore. Game 1 of the 1971 World Series has been brought to you by Chrysler Corporation. Extra care in engineering. Your host today, your local Dodge dealer. By Gillette Platinum Plus, with platinum smooth edges for smoother shave. You'll feel the difference. And by Phillips 66, the performance company. At Phillips 66, it's performance that counts.